Today, I want to get into times I got fired or I lost projects that I was chasing as a photographer and what happened. Are you tired of the endless stream of fantasy marketing and vanity metrics? Yeah, so am I. My name is James Patrick, and I'm an internationally published photographer, media specialist, and marketing strategist. As a creative entrepreneur, I face the same exact frustrations you have, being bombarded by generic advice that promises success but never lives up to the hype. We need to move beyond the posturing, beyond the facade, beyond the image to navigate the unique challenges we face as creatives. Together, we're going to dive into real stories, real strategies, and the real work that can lead to the real results. This is the Beyond the Image podcast. What is going on? And thank you so much for tuning into our latest episode of the Beyond the Image podcast. I'm Arthur. You can take some time to get some information and get a little inspiration to help you in your creative entrepreneurial journey. So I was resistant to talk about this, or I should say, I had the idea to talk about this. I knew it was an important thing to talk about, and I made an Instagram post about it, and I was hesitant to actually push post. I held back on actually sharing this, and the reason is because what you would assume, I was afraid of being judged. I was afraid of people not seeing me as this professional photographer, as this person who is an entrepreneur, who is a successful business owner, and sharing the times that I didn't win, the times that I maybe even failed would make me look bad or would make people look poorly upon me. But the reality is, in what we do, we're going to, when it comes to pursuing work, we're going to lose and we are going to not earn or not get or not win infinitely more work than we will ever actually win. And that's just the numbers of really just the business of pursuing work as a creative professional, as a photographer. And this is not specific to the photo industry. I mean, you could take that really and apply it to any industry. In my previous work, I worked in marketing for professional services. A decent win rate for a professional service firm was around 15 to 20%, 20% being on the really good end. I had years in my career as a marketing business development professional where I was winning around 35 to 40% of the work that we pursued because we were pursuing a very finite amount of work. We were very focused in our pursuit efforts, and thus we had a higher win percentage. And that was astronomical for us at that time. And then there were years where our win percentage was closer to 10%. So under what was average, under what was acceptable. So we had bad years. But either way, the majority of the work we're chasing, whether it's 90% of the work we're chasing on a bad year or on a really good year, 60 to 70% of the work we're chasing, we're not winning. And that is I think, under-discussed element of this industry or of any industry, which is you will face losses. You will not win projects. You will get fired. You will have bad clients. You'll have bad client experiences. There will be times where you yourself don't deliver. It's going to happen. And we need to normalize that because that is part of learning in what we're doing and then pushing forward to find the next project or the next client or the client we can serve or the ones that we do have a successful relationship with. So here are some stories of times I got fired or I lost work that are unique or interesting. And you can enjoy and be entertained by my misery. There was one example that I had a fitness icon who I worked with who fired me after one production because I refused to over edit their photos to make them look decades younger. Decades younger. They complained to their team and to their publisher that he is not editing my photos enough. And then they took my photos. I'm not joking. They took my photos, which I had already edited and already de-aged them pretty significantly, as much as I was comfortable with, while still retaining the quality of the photo and the realism of the photo. So they didn't look like a plastic, doll. And they actually applied filters to my photos to blur them out beyond belief. And that's what actually went to press. And they fired me and never hired me again. Um, I used to have a photo agent. Much like a model can have an agent, photographers can have agents. The difference being is that there are far fewer photography agents than modeling agents, and they're very selective. But this was not necessarily a big agent. I would say this was a local market agent. I would even say this is a local market agent who did not have a lot of experience in managing photographers. They asked me to bid on a project. So I sent in a bid, and they came back to say, well, your bid was out of the client's budget, but we gave it to someone else. And what I learned is that behind the scenes, my agent used my bid to figure out what the client's budget was. So my agent got a job opportunity from a client. In order to find out what the client's budget was, used me to bid. Figured out what the client's budget was, then went to another photographer. Instead of going back to me to negotiate or going back to me to try to work with me on my bids to get my bid to meet where the client was at, just went to another photographer that they represented and just said, oh, just submit a bid for that amount. That's within the client's budget. And that photographer got the project. So I went directly to my agent. I called them out. I absolutely called them out for using me to figure out where the client's bar was, as opposed to just asking the client and providing me with that. Remember, they're my agent too, but instead they used me and then cast me aside, gave the work to someone else. So I called them out for that. And they never gave me another bid opportunity again. Never. And they didn't resign me, which isn't like, I'm not talking like a big loss here. I think in the 2 years I was with them, that was the only bid opportunity that they ever gave me. I had another experience where a magazine publisher, who was also a photographer, was upset that his editors, multiple, preferred hiring and working with me as opposed to him on his own magazine. Let that sink in. And he forces editors to fire me twice. Okay. I had a nearly guaranteed campaign, but it required that I have another creative be a part of my team. So I had to collect a bid from another creative, as a sub-consultant, and send that in with my bid. Now, this other consultant's rate, their hourly rate was, to put it mildly, high. So the client asked to get on a call just to talk through the bid. And my portion of the bid was never in question. It was within their budget and they were ready to move forward. The other portion of the bid, however, their portion of the bid was much higher than any of the other bids that they had received for that service. So they asked if this person, my sub-consultant who I chose, could give an estimate. Can you give us an estimate on what the hourly total, not that we're going to hold you to that, but we just need to have an idea of how much time this is going to take, because your hourly rate is significantly higher than others who have pitched on this service. And he responded, no, I'd rather not give that estimate. So we lost that, and like, duh. Maybe a year and a half ago, I got hired to photograph a commercial campaign. And the way it was structured is I was hired to shoot the stills, and a video production company was also hired to shoot all the video components of this campaign. Now, we were each hired by different team members of this company. Like, there was one marketing person who hired me, and there was another marketing person who hired the video production company. So already we're going to run into some issues with communication between different parties. But what became overwhelmingly clear from the onset of the project, because the video and photo were happening simultaneously, was that the video producer really wanted to have the photo portion of that contract as well, and was actually seemingly upset that me and my team were hired for the photo portion. He kept throughout the entire project, he kept dropping hints to the client, not so subtle hints, that he could easily do the photo portion. And I whispered to my assistant at some point, I says, watch. By the next campaign, we will not be here. And he will have the full contract. He'll have the photo and the video with this client. And he did. He absolutely did. Our contact at the company was let go or fired. And so the contact who he had developed the relationship with, he had developed the rapport with, was now the sole decision maker. And there you go. They get all the work. They just spent the time to develop the relationship with the person who was the decision maker of who got the work moving forward. Another example, I was hired after years of marketing to this magazine. I was hired by a national newsstand magazine. And I'd spent, like I said, years trying to get in with this publication, and they finally gave me an opportunity, and it was a cover shoot opportunity. And in fact, it was a celebrity cover shoot opportunity. I will use celebrity in quotes. I'm talking like C-list celebrity. Did all the pre-production, had to go out to a different state to shoot, got the permits to shoot, handled everything with that. The celebrity was late by the magnitude of hours late to this production. So already we've lost our great light because we're shooting on location. We're running out of time based off what our permit is. Fine. They finally show up and we still are able to get the shots, despite this person being a little difficult to work with. I should say they weren't as difficult as they had a lot of people with them, a lot of handlers with them, not really publicists, but wannabe publicists, quote unquote, their assistants, who just kept slowing up the process and getting in the way, which is not uncommon for these types of photo shoots. It was just jarring how much they got in the way and how much they impacted the photo shoot. That being said, we were super professional and we got decent shots out of this. Not the shots we wanted to get, because remember, we lost our time frame windows because they were so late to show up, but we did get good shots. However, right after the photo shoot, I'm talking like right after the photo shoot, so before the actual magazine goes to press, the editor who hired me, who we'd done all this marketing to, who gave us a chance and gave us this really big opportunity, got fired. Don't know why they got fired. Have no clue. Had nothing to do with us. Don't know. A new editorial team comes in, and they are then given all the creative assets that we had created for the upcoming issue. And it was not what they would have concepted out. Maybe they didn't like the person being featured. Don't know. Maybe they didn't like the creative direction. Have no idea. Maybe they just didn't like it because they didn't come up with it. It wasn't their project, and they're just being forced to publish it because they don't want the assets wasted. Don't know. Whatever it is, the entire project is tainted because it was created by, commissioned by, and led by the editor who got fired before them. So I was simply guilty by association by being part of the original creative team. And I never got another opportunity. I tried once again to build that rapport, to create, completely stonewalled. Bad timing. I had another client. I spent years working for this client at an embarrassingly low rate. Many years. And at some point I requested a slight bump to a new rate, which the new rate would still suck. It was still really bad. But it was a little less bad, so I maybe wouldn't cry into my pillow every night that I was working for them. And instead, the company chose to never hire me again and replace me, not with someone who would do it for less, but they found someone who'd do it for free. I was talking to one of my clients just this week, and another fun little anecdote came to my mind. I got hired to shoot a cover spread and a fashion spread for a lifestyle magazine. And for this project, they hired me to do the photo shoot as well as to cast all the subjects of the photo shoot. So I did that. We cast all the subjects for the photo shoot. I was going to shoot it. I was required to work with the publication's quote unquote stylist. Now, the publication, this is not a trained or experienced stylist. This is an individual who ran the marketing for a local shopping mall and used their job at the shopping mall to just connect with all the different stores at the shopping mall, and then was able to get clothes donated from all these different stores at the shopping mall, and thus called themselves a stylist. The magazine, for whatever reason, couldn't tell you. Maybe because the person was willing to work for free. I don't know. I'm just assuming. They kind of sold their soul to this person. So this person is running the ship. The editor of the magazine's not running the ship. The creative director of the magazine's not running the ship. It's this freelance stylist is running the show. Okay, fine. They want to shoot at their mom's house. Okay, sure. We were hoping for a resort or like a really nice rental property that um would just kind of create a little bit more atmosphere for this photo shoot. But their exact words to me were, "Yeah, I just want this to be an easy shoot, so I think my mom's house will be nice." Okay, fine. Uh, Day of the photo shoot comes up. We're ready to go. I get a message from the stylist saying, "You know what? We're gonna push the photo shoot till tomorrow." This is the morning of the photo shoot, a couple hours before the photo shoot. And I was like, "Time out." This might have been like an hour before the photo shoot. I was like, we're ready to go. Like, some of the models are from out of town. They are currently driving into town right now. They are on the road right now to get to this photo shoot. Why are we canceling the photo shoot? They say, "Well, it's cloudy out and we want blue skies in this photo shoot." And I was like, it's cloudy out. I'm the creative on this. It should be my call whether or not we can achieve the shots we want to achieve for this. And we can achieve all of them. Like, well, it might rain. It's doubtful. Like, I can shoot with clouds. I have lights. This does not impact me at all. We need to continue with this photo shoot. No, it's just we just need to do it tomorrow. I just want to do it tomorrow. So I called the magazine. I was like, "What are we doing? I can do this photo shoot. Why are we pushing this photo shoot off till tomorrow?" Like, the models are like, some of these models are driving from out of town. They're like 75% there to the photo shoot. Well, she's kind of in charge, and our hands are kind of tied on this, and she wants to do tomorrow, so we might just need to do tomorrow. Well, then, in that case, number one, I'm not available tomorrow. And number two, now I'm going to require that you pay all the models a kill fee for today because you've wasted all their time. You had them all booked. Some of them are driving from 100 miles away. Like, one of them got all the way to the photo shoot location before he got the email to say that the photo shoot was postponed. So he had to drive 200 miles for nothing. I was like, you need to pay them all. So now you need to pay more. And they're like, "Well, okay, yeah, I guess we'll do that." So guess who got fired from that project? Like, not that I was available to shoot the next day, but they never hired me again because I was so blunt about, listen, you cannot do that. That is so unprofessional. Shocker, the stylist had her own photographer she really liked. Did the photo shoot the next day. Magazine comes out. I'm going to be honest with you, listeners. There is not 1 centimeter of fucking sky in any of these photos. None. The sky was just a BS excuse because Who knows? She just didn't want to do the photo shoot that day for whatever reason. And because she had the magazine wrapped around her finger, just decided to upend everyone's schedule and F everyone over just because it was more convenient for her. That magazine didn't hire me again for years. They eventually did rehire me, and they ended up rehiring me for another cover shoot. We did the cover shoot, had the art director on set with me for the cover shoot. So I'm showing the art director the shots the whole time, like, here are the shots, here are the shots. He's like, oh, we got it. We absolutely have it. Okay, we're good. I was happy. He was happy. We come back and like, oh, well, we don't think we got it. So, and I was like, okay, I think we're good here. Okay, so the point is, I've been doing this over 20 years. I've lost a lot of work. There are times I've lost work because, like in some of these examples, the client really sucked. There were times I lost work simply because it was bad timing, fate, whatever it is. It just didn't align for this relationship to work out. Sometimes I, as a creative, was just not what the client wanted. Just wasn't what they were looking for. Wasn't the creative direction or the vision that they had in mind. Sometimes it was ego. The client's ego. Sometimes it was my ego. Sometimes it was purely politically motivated of why I lost work or didn't get work. Sometimes other creatives did better. They had a better approach, a better creative. They campaigned better than I did, and they won as a result. There were times where clients just want to be schmoozed, and I didn't schmooze enough. There were times it came down to price, and the client was just like, I'm just hiring the cheapest, quality be damned. There were times I got used and I got taken advantage of. And there are other times I just messed up and I made a mistake and I had to learn from that. But that's the thing. You see, through all of this, we're 20 years, I'm still in business because it's not about counting these losses. And yes, it's kind of like just fun in hindsight to, amuse myself at some of these anecdotes. But as I said at the head of this, you are always going to lose more pursuits than you win. You're going to have more people not respond to your marketing than you have respond to your marketing. It's not about that. It is about consistently learning ways that you can improve and better your services so that you can better serve the clients who are the right clients for you, the ones who are worthy of your attention, the ones who are worthy of your creative services. And it's about finding that match. And the way we find those matches, a lot of the times, is by going through the things that don't work out. So, as I said, like, I was nervous to share this because it is in our DNA to want to project only the most pristine and perfect and polished impression of our careers. But the reality is that the losses and the struggles and the frustrations and the failures are just as much of the story of us building our creative service business as the times when we win. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this episode. As always, we appreciate you sharing this episode with a friend. We appreciate your reviews on the Apple Podcast app, for subscribing on YouTube. Thank you so much. Keep shooting. We'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, everyone.